Hello from Stornoway, Scotland, on the Isle of Lewis, just on the Outer Hebrides. That's just on the northwest corner of Scotland, out towards the North Atlantic. And I'm waiting here to be picked up by a helicopter tomorrow to bring me out to a Canadian destroyer, the HMCS Athabaskan, which is participating in the largest war game exercises of the year for NATO countries. But there's a chance, because of the bad weather, you can see I'm soaked already, that I might be stuck here for an extra day. So might be time to start looking around for some story ideas here in Stornoway. So I found a couple of interesting sites here. A little miniature house made of stones. Interesting. And they like these rocks. I think it's the Celtic rocks steps. They're off the coast as well. This is a miniature version. 5 minutes, two interesting things. So good news, the weather is good today. It looks like I can get away. We're about to take off from Stornoway to meet the HMCS Athabaskan. The trip's about an hour and a half or so, just north of the Scottish coast, so hopefully we'll be there soon.
There's 15 feet that separates the tip of the rotor from the hangar face. So today is a relatively calm day. It's not pitching, it's not rolling very much at all today. But you can imagine what it's like when we come back and have to land on the back of the ship at night, where the ship can roll in excess of 20 up to 30 degrees and pitch up to 4 to 5. So that can be very challenging.
So here we are on the HMCS Athabaskan. This is Len Hickey, who is basically my babysitter, who is the public affairs officer. Do they call them PAFOs? Is that the
PAFO or PAO?
PAO. And Len, I have to say I'm starting to get my sea legs a little bit, but I'm still kind of wobbly, sort of
good.
shaky. How long does it take before you get a hang of this?
For some people, never.
Never?
Other people are naturals.
I'm gonna go show the sleeping quarters, which are just below deck down here. Gotta get used to the stairs and ladders.
Now it's always night down here, so we gotta be quiet and turn on the night vision because the lights are low, because a lot of sailors are working the night shift essentially and sleep during the day. So I'll show you the cramped sleeping quarters. It's probably about 2.5 feet wide. I can tell you I hit my head about 20 times last night. You gotta kind of slide in. It's about the size of a coffin. And yeah, comfortable.
The Athabaskan is just one of 4 Canadian vessels taking part in exercise Joint Warrior. This is the biggest war games exercise in Europe that's held and organized by the UK. It involves some 10 nations, and Canada's participating as well, going through various scenarios that Canada's Navy might find itself in, such as dealing with terrorism, piracy on the high seas, having your ship off the coast of 2 warring nations as the neutral sort of arbitrator. So lots of different scenarios.
All right, Swick, issue 1-3, a Joker 4033.
Roger, issue 1-3, 402.
Ship company, brace for shock. Substar, check gun air.
for each individual ship, there's sufficient events here to really challenge the teams and practice them along pretty much all spectrum of operations, from doing just common boardings, building the picture, up to actual simulated combat operations. So from a ship perspective, it's an excellent exercise.
Well, that's the gun on the Athabaskan. When I first saw it, I didn't think it was that big and that intimidating, but the big stuff is really down here. This is where the surface-to-air missiles are located. There's more than 20, and this is what allows the ship to protect itself by shooting down enemy fighters or enemy aircraft that might be a threat of some sort.
Forecastle, gun deck, flag deck, out of bounds, all other parts of ship inbounds.
So we're here on the bridge right now, and they're just completing battle stations or action stations exercise. And one thing I didn't know, which is interesting, is that one of the reasons why you have to stay inside is because of the radar outside. There's lots of high-frequency beams that will essentially do damage to you. So there's a strict warning to stay inside. And I also find the radar is messing up my audio. So I'm gonna get some coffee in the, what's it called, the ward room? It's not the war room, it's the ward room. Which is the mess, the officer's mess, where essentially everybody chills out. It's the living room, the kitchen, the movie room.
Those poor Caledonians.
That's the odd.
Just what?
Oh, now you're taking sides. You can take sides.
So I'm gonna grab a cup of coffee here. This is where everybody sits and chats, and there's a widescreen TV over here where everybody can watch movies. Also briefings here, and you can also do some work. Got my coffee. So members of the crew here are growing mustaches for charity.
The only reason you grow something like this on your face is for prostate cancer. Some more successful than others.
How long has this been going on for?
I don't know, maybe like 2 weeks.
Since we left, pretty much. It's for my prostate. If you look at Lieutenant Hickey here, he does not love his prostate.
Right now, we're actually witnessing something that's probably the most dangerous. If you just pan over here, this is a refueling. It's one of the more riskier things you can do at sea, apparently.
We carry enough food for about two months.
The crew down here, they might be in the galley, but they have Red Cross on their on the epaulette because they multitask. Not only are they cooks, they're also first aid and firefighters. So Mike, tell me a little bit about life at sea. What's it like being on a ship?
Well, it's like hanging out with a good couple hundred of your closest friends in a space that's about 150 feet long and 50 so feet wide.
Ever go stir crazy on the ship a little bit? I mean, just you're in tight quarters here.
Yeah, at times. I mean, you have to find your outlets. There's no doubt about that. You definitely have to look for ways to get away from it all. And for me, it's my iPod. I like to close up my rack and listen to my iPod for a little bit, and gives me a little bit of time to myself.
So after 3 weeks of crossing the Atlantic and exercises in Joint Warrior, the Athabaskan is now heading to the port of Edinburgh, Leith, and there's a palpable sense of excitement on board now that most of the hard stuff, all the work is done. The crew is giddy. It's almost like the last day of school. It's called Channel Fever here, and so the crew of the Athabaskan looking forward to a well-deserved break in Edinburgh.